Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Tribal Trades. I want to welcome you to the daily show. We're going to be covering Bitcoin and some news updates. Wherever you are tuning in from around the world, a warm welcome to you and thanks for tuning in. Now, if you haven't done so already, if you could smash the like button, that helps get this content out to more people, helps grow the channel. Also, all your comments and questions, greatly appreciate that, and I always look back to get back to those as soon as I possibly can. Also, I am in the Discord daily in the crypto channel. Go to stockswithjosh.com and you can sign up there. There are different paid plans that you can be involved in. It's a great investment in your crypto education and trading education as well. There is both a crypto and a stocks channel. Okay, so what I'm going to do is jump into some Bitcoin news and then we're going to look at the chart. So the first thing here that I want to talk about is that Bitcoin closed below the Bollinger Band on the weekly. This is a sell signal. More downside is probable. And this is quite possible. Look, here's the thing, and I'm just going to be really straight with this, is that no one knows what's going to happen next. No one. Somebody is going to get it right. Some people are going to get it wrong. Some people are going to be partially wrong, but nobody really knows what's going to happen next. And so it's very important that I want to be upfront and sharing a very balanced perspective on what I see in the charts and also some of these indicators that we look at, like the Bollinger Band. And is it possible that we go down a little bit lower and retest the 49, 50, 51K area? Of course it's possible. And, you know, funnily enough, I have a Discord channel. It's a private Discord channel just for some friends and acquaintances of mine. I don't post in there very often. In fact, the last time I posted in there, by the way, was back in April. Okay, it's not very active now, so but here's the deal. And what I posted in there, I'm going to read what I posted in there. I posted in there back on April the 14th, and I said, we need to close here above 67 to 68K, which of course is possible, but if not, I see a higher probability of more downside to the 59, 61K region. That's what happened. We dropped, first of all, back down to the 59, 61K region, and possibly eventually lower to the 54 to 55K region. What happened? That's where we went with a wick down to 53. 51K is also still in play, but less probable for now. This can change, of course. Longer term, 75 to 80 is where I will start to take some profits off the table. Once I see how price reacts at 80K, I will determine my next move, April the 14th. And so there you go. And I'm going to post a screenshot of that in the Discord. I might, if we do get down to 51K, it'll be very interesting though. So I do want to make sure that we have a balanced perspective here. But yes, no one knows. No one knows what is going to be the next move of Bitcoin. But somebody's going to be right. Well, I'm going to provide a Bitcoin update at the end of this these news articles that I am sharing. Now, we do have a lower low on the daily with Bitcoin as well. So I do want to jump quickly to the charts because I want to kind of get the bearish stuff more out of the way. But you see here now we have a lower low here. We had a low here. We had a higher low. And now we have a lower low here as well. But we also have bullish divergence where the price has gone down, but the relative strength index is on the way up. So at the same time, we have a lower low. We also have some bullish divergence, which we hope is going to play out nicely to the upside, okay? Now, the next one that I have here is that Bitcoin is outperforming the last two cycles. So this is also a little bit of perspective. So at this point in the last two cycles, Bitcoin was still down about 40% from the all-time high. To put that in perspective, that would mean 42,000 Bitcoin, and we're at 56, 57,000. So it is outperforming based off the last couple of cycles, and this is important to know. And so it's always important to keep perspective, to know, oh no, Bitcoin's down from 73,000 down to 57. Yeah, but it's up. It's up a lot. And based off the last previous cycles, we should be at around 42,000. So we are way ahead of the curve right now. Also, in bull markets, the Bitcoin doesn't stay under the 200-day EMA for long. And so as you can see here, it just doesn't. You can see here, it didn't stay under for very long, didn't stay under for very long, didn't stay under for very long. We've just broken below that just recently, and I don't expect us to stay down there more than, here was just a few months. I don't imagine that we would stay under here for that long. Could just be a few weeks, could be a few days. We could pop back at any time, but it does look like possibly we are going to consolidate. The more we retest that 200-day EMA on the daily, the greater the chance that we are going to break through, okay? And there is some liquidation levels to the upside. At 64,000, 67,000, at 70,000, there is going to be a lot of shorts that are going to be liquidated. So I think there is a great incentive for the market to move up. Now, is it going to do that right away? Of course not. I think there are contracts being collected under the 200-day EMA, and once those contracts have been collected, a short squeeze can be on, okay? So Bitcoin has been outperforming the 200-day EMA. We also have the 200 simple moving average, which, look, I use the 200-day EMA, the exponential moving average. It's about the same place. They both, if you look at the lines, that they kind of are almost exactly on each other. I just prefer one over the other. So if you see people talking about the 200-day simple moving average or the 200 EMA on the daily time frame, the latter is what I use, the 200 EMA on the daily time frame. I don't have the 200-day simple moving average on the chart because the lines are basically identical, okay? So and as I said before, we have some beautiful bullish divergence on the daily time frame here. I believe also on the 4-hour it might still be also. But so this is more of a process that could take some time to play out. You can see the price has gone down, and you can see that this has moved up in the RSI. So that has generally been a very bullish indicator there. It doesn't mean that we're not going to go down to 51. We could well go down to 51, 49K. I'm going to show you on the charts where I see my absolute bottom that I would be shocked if we lost at the end of this. And of course, we've had the Germany price manipulation. And this baffles me as well, because really at the end of the day, Germany has been selling the Bitcoin. And when they get to 100K, someone's going to look at whoever made that decision and go, why on earth did we sell this for half of what we could have sold it later in the cycle? Hopefully they don't know something that we don't, but it looks like they are down about half of their Bitcoin that they've sold so far. And that's a lot of Bitcoin being dumped onto the market. Also, the Germans, they have sending roughly 3,100 Bitcoin, around 178 million on July 9th. That's today. So they've just sent more Bitcoin to exchanges, we think, to sell. So we could be in for some more dump, but maybe the market has priced this in. Let's see what happens over today and tomorrow. They also have situations where they're sending it to the exchange, and the exchange, they're sending it back and forth. I don't know what the Germans are doing right now. Fairly odd behavior. It's a little bit random that we're kind of seeing them sell so much. Because I do think this as well, that if you're the Germans, why didn't you start selling some at 70? Why didn't you sell some at 66? Why didn't you sell some? They're just all of a sudden dumping huge amounts of Bitcoin onto the market. I mean, here's a great post here. Germany could have sold all its Bitcoin OTC. What's OTC? It's over the counter. That would mean that if I said to you, hey, I want to buy your Bitcoin, you send it to me, I'll send you some USDC. We send it over the counter. We're not trading it on exchange. Zero impact on the price, okay? But here's the deal. They just can't help it, and they've just been dumping it on the market. So that's kind of crazy price manipulation behavior from the Germans. Again, not sure what is going on there. So we also have the MtGox FUD, which created a lot of fear and panic and ended up really to not be as problematic. So it looks like 2,700 Bitcoin was distributed recently to the rightful owners. There's 139,000 Bitcoin left to go. But remember, only half of that Bitcoin is being distributed over the next 90 days. The rest of that 70,000 Bitcoin is being distributed later over the next couple of years. So really, it's only half of that amount. And secondly, only a little bit of that half have been released so far. And if you look at the next news article here, running some numbers, this is quite good. So MtGox has a total of 141 to be distributed, with 95K to be distributed within 90 days. I'm not sure about that. I did read that it was only half of that, but let's just say it is 95. There seems to be some conflicting there. So 20,000 going to credit funds, and that might be where the discrepancy is there. 10,000 is going to a New Zealand exchange. It's tangled its own bankruptcy process, so that's not going to hit the market. 65,000 is going to individual creditors. Let's assume 30% of the 85,000 gets sold, 25.5 thousand Bitcoin. Assume MtGox creditors sell that 30% in one scoop, which is not going to be happening, rather than spread through time. And it just kind of shows you at the most it would trigger a 10.5% dump. But we know that's not going to happen, because we know that not all of that is going to be dumped. We know that it's being released over a 90-day period. We know that it's not all of the 140,000. We know already 2,000 Bitcoin have been released. Almost 3,000 Bitcoin have been released. Have those people sold? We don't know. But I think there is going to be a portion of those that just won't end up selling anyway, okay? And at the end of the day, look what happened. What did the ETFs do? The ETFs bought the dip. On July 4th, they bought the dip. And when Germany sold again, they bought the dip again. Net inflows, 25 million, net inflows. So the ETFs bought the dip. And if we look here, we can actually see the stats on the ETFs that they did indeed buy the dip. There we go. They bought the dip again, okay? They bought the dip on July 4th. They couldn't buy the dip on July 4th. Thanks, Germans, dumping on a day where they know the ETFs couldn't scoop it up. They scooped it up the very next day on the Friday, the 5th of July, and then they've scooped up the next dip here. Smart money is buying the dip, okay? So the ETFs have scooped up those German sells, all right? And then Grayscale has bought the dip. Grayscale has bought the dip, just had their 5th biggest day ever, taking over 25 million, while the Germans were selling, the ETFs were stacking, okay? So there we go. All right, so we're going to have a quick look at the charts. We're going to jump into the Bitcoin charts here. And so as we can see, I'm going to give a fairly step-by-step breakdown of what I see playing out. So first of all, I had said that if we lost the 50-day moving average, we'd come down and test this trend line. I said if we lost the trend line, we'd come and test the 200-day EMA on the daily. We did that. If we couldn't hold that, I said that we'd retest it and likely get rejected, because that's normal kind of market behavior. That's exactly what happened. We retested it and we got rejected. So here's what I see playing out from here. Number one, there is a likelihood that we could come down into this area here. Now we see, I'll show it here. There is a wick here. There is a wick here that is at about 48,970, right there, 48,970. Where are we? About there, okay? That I would really see that this area here would be firm support. And one of the reasons for this One of the reasons for this is because the 50-week moving average is currently at 48,000 and moving up, by the way, has never been broken in a bull market. The 50-week moving average has never been broken in a bull market. That's currently sitting at around 48,000. Now, obviously, that is moving up. So this is number one, why I see this level holding here. I see we've got a stack of order block from Lux Algo. We have a key Fibonacci here to create a double bottom at 50,000 right here, where we see Fibonacci. We had a little bit of a takeoff here, so we could create boom, boom. But we also have this wick here, liquidity wick. We could come down and wick into here, and then off we would go. So there is a possibility that we come down and test this 49 to 51K area with the 50-week moving average, a simple moving average, currently sitting at 48,000, never been broken. Okay, so I see us sitting in this area here for days, weeks, months, not sure how long we will consolidate here, okay? We will eventually break back up, and the more times we test this 200 EMA on the daily, the greater the chance we will break. We will then hit this trend line, and then we will come back and retest. So number one, we will remain under here. We could break it back up today. Look, we don't stay for long under here, but we will break it back up. And then secondly, we're going to retest. And we're going to retest the 200-day EMA, and we're going to find support. And as we break back up, then we're going to retest this trend line. We might bounce around in here a little bit. Obviously, once we're above, this is going to trend up, and then we're going to break back above this. What do we have next? We have the trend line, but look at what we have here. The 50-day moving average, simple moving average, is sitting right on that other trend line support in our flag formation here. We have a bigger flag. We have a smaller flag. We have a wedge pattern. And so then I see us coming up here and being rejected by the 50-day moving average, initially rejected, and come down and retest this trend line, maybe even come all the way down and retest this, which will be higher, by the way. This could have moved up to this trend line. And if that does so, that gives us double support, all right? And we also have some Fibonacci's here to keep an eye on here that also give us some support. And so we're going to bounce around here. We break eventually above the 50-day moving average. Okay, I'm just going to zoom a little bit here. We break, and I'm going to move this across, 50-day moving average. And now our next is this resistance, this trend line resistance here. And we're going to break between, and we're going to consolidate between the 50-day moving average and this trend line, which will eventually break above. And again, retest that as support. Then our next area that we need to bust through is, therefore, we have that 73,000 all-time high. And from there, we're going to find a little bit of resistance there. We're going to come back, retest this, this trend line support here. This 50-day moving average may have moved up as well. And I see all of this playing out between now and the end of the year. And I do expect that we will set a new all-time high sometime around October, November, December time frame in that last quarter of the year. That's my expectation. Now, it could be accelerated, it could be slowed down. Obviously, so where does this leave us? We've got some bullish things and we've got some bearish things. I think we've got the Germans that are selling. We've got the MtGox distributions. We have ETF inflows. We have bullish divergence, but we're under the 200 EMA on the daily, which is very bearish. We're under the 50-day moving average, which is quite bearish, but we're above the 50-week moving average, which is sitting at 48K, which has never been broken in a bull market in Bitcoin's history. And we come back a little bit lower, of course, we could, but we may have set the local bottom already. I will keep you informed. In the Discord, I'm there daily. Make sure you get signed up, connect, engage in there. So great connecting with all the Discord people there. And obviously on my daily show here, I will keep you updated as well. Well, until the next video, happy trading.